You might be thinking, why? Why would you, a British person who lives in Europe, where you might think the debate or the arguments around abortion are done and settled, that it's all over? Why are you talking about this issue? This issue, especially around this, raises worrying questions, because as the title of this video and as this article that we're going to go into shows, those forces that have pushed to get rid of Roe v. Wade in America, those abortion rights in America, that took years of pushing and planning for them to do, and they look like they may have finally succeeded, are coming for Europe as well. Remember, Poland, the religious right in Poland took power. They've banned abortions in Poland. That's just one country. And you look at these groups, those American think tank funded groups that are funneling money into this fight against Roe v. Wade, are also putting money into trying to reverse things here in the UK, but also in Ireland as well. What was it, 4-6 years ago now, where Ireland overturned its abortion ban? Again, one of the countries that had one of the most regressive abortion rights in Europe. They're coming for that as well. They are making active attempts to try and overturn that, and they are funneling money into groups to overturn that. And if there's one thing we have to learn about rights, because this is what it is, it's a rights issue, especially in the UK with what we've seen of like the elections bill and of course the crime and policing bill, is that the Tories are willing to take money, even if that means, well, we'll get rid of abortion rights. They'll take that money gladly. And while it might not seem a big issue at the moment, there's no telling, might this be a bigger issue in 10, in 15, in 20 years? This is a long game. They have played this long game in America, and they are more than willing to play this long game as well in Europe. So there's one thing that we do have to learn here in the UK, especially with the current Tory party. They are more than happy to take away rights if, again, it satisfies their backers and means, well, they get a bit more cash in their coffers and back pockets. So let's go over to this article, find out more about this and the groups that are indeed funneling money into the UK and elsewhere in Europe to, well, essentially overturn abortion rights. But before we do that, please do remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below, there are links to my Patreon page and an donation link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can, well, buy me coffee. And as always, thank you very much to all those people who do support the channel that way. And of course, we now have the YouTube thank you button, where if you use it, you get to leave like a really special comment down below, which I think is kind of cool. I haven't done it myself yet, but yeah, maybe I'll try it out sometime on someone else's channel. But anyway, over to this article from The Guardian on this. So, with the title of "After Victory in the US, How Now the Far Right is Coming for Abortion Laws in Europe." For those of us who have been watching the assault against the abortion rights in the US for years, this week's leaked Supreme Court draft opinion, which could pave the way for the overturning of Roe v. Wade, came as no surprise. Roe v. Wade protects the rights of abortion in the US, and he's up to the point of a fetus can survive outside of the womb, and the religious and far right have been gunning for it ever since it was introduced in 1973. The evangelical ideologues, the far right actors, and again, the right-wing billionaires have organized to undermine women's rights to safe, legal abortions through a combination of violence against clinics and even doctors, and dark money, and of course, political influence. So how did the US get here? After years of legal assaults and restrictive abortion laws, and again, targeted clinics in Republican states, years of disinformation spread by, quote, the crisis pregnancy centers, where women were persuaded not to have abortions, and years of burdensome demands on women to end ultrasounds, given parental consent, and even put up with counseling in order to have it termination, Trump's election opened the door for abortion rights to be ended in the US. Ultimately, it required the courts not politicians, to end abortion. And that's where the Federalist Society comes in. And again, pay close attention to the Federalist Society, because they are here in the UK as well, and they are funneling a lot of money, not just into this issue, but several other issues as well here in the UK. So, headed by Leonard Leo, the legal organization supported an anti-abortion lawmakers across the US into positions of influence where they could draft laws to ban abortions after 15 weeks, 12 weeks, 6 weeks, and then completely. The end goal was for anti-abortion states to try and implement one of these laws where it could be challenged again and again until it reached the Supreme Court. To do that, the anti-abortion movement needed the Supreme Court justices who could enact its agenda. And they got their way with the help of the leader of the Senate, Mitch McConnell, who blocked President Obama from nominating a Supreme Court judge, leaving the field open for Trump to promote an anti-abortion Neil Gorsuch. After that came two more Trump-appointed justices, Brett Kavanaugh and Amy Coney Barrett. This was the judicial assault on abortion rights. That the assault could only happen with the help of money, and lots of it. Luckily for the anti-abortion movement, there are plenty of wealthy foundations keen to fund the cause. They have DeVos, DeVos, Prince, the Termination, the Templeton Foundation, which have helped to support organizations such as the Alliance for Defending Freedom and the Heritage Foundation and Focus on the Family. Backed by billionaire funding, organizations such as the ADF took the fight against abortion rights to the courts, helping to secure a ban on buffer zones of the so-called partial birth abortions and supporting the notorious Hobby Lobby case, which stated that employees should not have to cover birth control on employees' healthcare plans if it was against the owner's religious beliefs. The organization and their billionaire backers do have transatlantic reach. Take the DeVos and Koch Foundation supporting Heritage Foundation, which this week has welcomed a range of Conservative MPs to discuss free speech, including, again, take note, Oliver Dowden, Priti Patel, and Liam Fox. And it was announced on the day of the Supreme Court leak that even Lord David Frost would soon be addressing the organization. And of course, there's the ADF, which spent over 23.3 million in Europe between 2008 and 2019, when its European arm of Youth Conference played host to the Conservative MP Fiona Bruce. And of course, the ADF International intervened in even Belfast's notorious gay cake case and allied with organizations that have lobbied to further restrict abortion in Poland. The US anti-abortion legal organization, the America Center for Law and Justice, is a second religious freedom organization that takes on legal cases to challenge abortion and LGBTQ plus rights, and has also been operating in Europe. Set up by the Republican Pat Robertson, who famously accused a feminist of turning women into lesbians, the ACLA Chief Justice Counsel and former Trump defense attorney Jay Solkovo, the AGLL spent at least $15.7 million in Europe from 2008 to 2019. So, as I said at the beginning, they are here. They are funding this stuff. And they are determined. Like I say, if they've been gunning for that since 1973, they are prepared to play the long game. And as with any rights, and as we've seen very recently in the UK, we have to be careful. We have to be ever vigilant for stuff like this. So how far can you see big money, the judiciary, and religious freedom movements have come together, both in the US and Europe? But there's another active force that is pushing towards the end of Roe, the far right. Across the far-right infosphere, men discuss the need to ban abortions in order to reverse what they call the Great Replacement, a conspiracy theory that posts that white people are being replaced by migration from the global south, and that in the US in particular, this replacement is aided by feminists repressing the white birth rate via abortion. Conspiracy theorists such as the Great Replacement do sound extreme, but when it comes to the US abortion row, such views are mainstream. Take this quote from the former Republican Congressman Steve King, who represented Iowa between 2003 and 2021. He claimed this, saying that the US subtracts from its population 1 million of our babies from the form of abortion. And we add to our population approximately 1.8 million of somebody else's babies who are raised in another culture before they even get to us. And again, that's a mainstream Republican congressman. Again, yeah, very, very worrying to say the least. And of course, the far right theories do circulate globally. That's why people outside the US shouldn't just act in solidarity with American women at this time, but be prepared to stand up against the possible erosion of their own hard-won rights. And that is the key. That is the key. That is the key kicker here. These groups are active in Europe and in the UK as well, as we saw there. The Heritage Foundation, we have to be very careful of these people. We have to pay attention to what they're doing, what they're saying, who they are funding, and what exactly it is they are pushing for, so that we can make a stand against when they come for other rights as well, because it's not just abortion. There's several other things as well. Most of the crazy stuff we're seeing about free trade is coming from the Heritage Foundation. So again, we have to be incredibly careful when it comes to all this. So this whole issue, where you might think it's a done and dusted issue, be careful. Be very careful, because there are some incredible dark money forces out there who are ready to strike back against this. And we have to be careful, and we have to be ever vigilant, especially with the fact that now the Conservatives have a massive majority. Might they make a move against it now? Almost certainly not. Almost certainly not at the moment. But if Priti Patel gets in and makes this a culture war issue, who knows? Who knows what possibilities that might happen? So, as always, be ever vigilant when it comes to this stuff. Do not think that this is just a settled issue here in Europe, because it might seem to be at the moment, but who knows what could happen 5, 10, 15 years' time. So be ever vigilant. So, as always, thank you very much for watching. Please do remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below, there are links to my Patreon page and a one-off donation link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can all buy me coffee. And as always, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you all next time.